all alone. Her beauty did shine so
So
clear.
welcome to this panel. We're going to be talking about ways that you can get on the water, especially locally. We have a ton of people here representing different organizations, and I will give them a chance to talk about themselves after just saying who's here. So top of my list, we have Teresa Eggers here with Sea Scouts. We have Amali, I'm going to butcher this, Knoblach here with, and Ruthie Gold here with Clearwater. We have Stephanie here with Kingston Sailing Club. We have myself, MJ, Sarah, Jody. We have so many people here from Kingston Sailing Club and from the Maritime Museum. And then we have Tanya representing Apollonia and Solaris. So how about in that order, we introduce our organizations a little bit. So let's start with Sea Scouts.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm Teresa Eggers. I am affiliated with the Sea Scout ship in Kingston, ship 609. We are a division of Boy Scouts, and it is a youth organization meant to serve children or youth ages 14 to 21. It is co-ed, so we welcome girls and boys. And it's a program run by the Boy Scouts or organized by the Boy Scouts and run locally by William Eggers and the mates and committee members that he has supporting him. The Hudson River Maritime Museum is our sponsor, so they provide us with a location for our meetings and dockage for the boat that we have. We have a 26-foot sailboat called Wayfinder, which you'll see down there on the dock when you go down. And that is the vessel that our group of youth work with and on. The program is meant to be youth run and encourages youth leadership and skill building. And some of the activities that we do with the kids are kayaking, canoeing, paddleboarding, camping, sailing on the Hudson River and up and down, and community service. They learn a lot of maritime skills with the program and their advancements and rank advancements. So leadership is always a big part of it. We try and get each of the kids through a different rank as far as working through the activities of the actual ship and some of the behind the scenes with treasurer and organizing programs and such. They learn a lot of maritime traditions, safety, boating courses, navigation, just general boating skills, water safety, marlin spike, which is their ropes and knots. And then within their rank advancement, they have to achieve certain levels of expertise in each of these fields. They also have access to regional and national programs where there are other Sea Scout organizations that are running summer programs and leadership programs. They're really phenomenal. Our local Sea Scout ship was active for quite a few years out of the Hudson River Maritime Museum, and then those parents and youth aged out, and so it was shut down for a while, and it was reestablished in 2017. And our original group was 3 girls and 1 boy, and they ran it and did the program for a while. We've gotten new kids in since then. We actually have 2 of our youth are currently working at the Hudson River Maritime Museum and building terrific skills within the wooden boat school and on the dock and the visiting vessels. So they're getting so much experience. Right now we meet 2 days a month. So on Thursdays, the first and third Thursdays in the evenings, and any Saturday that the weather is predicted to be good, then Skipper Bill will send an email out saying that he wants to go sailing and who wants to join him. So he gets as much time on the water as he can. I think the boat's coming out of the water on Monday, finally. This year we're doing it before it snows, but he gets it out on the water as early as he can in the spring and puts it on the dock as late as he can. So that's our program. We are more than happy to talk to anybody, answer any questions, give you any details about it. We have a Facebook site, which is BSA Sea Scout Ship 609. And we have a Gmail email address, which is cscoutship609@gmail.com. And I'll type that into the comments so you can get that if you want.
Is there a cost associated with your program?
There is membership into the Boy Scouts of America, which is, I think, $65 a year right now. And then there are some additional insurance fees. We do wear uniforms, so eventually we would hope that the kids are able to obtain those. We do have some scholarshiping going on so that we do not deny a kid. If a kid wants to participate, we will make it work.
Very cool. Stephanie, do you want to say anything about the sailing school?
Sure. So my name is Stephanie Marrinan, and I work at the Hudson River Maritime Museum. I'm also a member of the Kingston Sailing Club and on the board of directors. And I'm also a member officer in the Kingston flotilla of the Coast Guard Auxiliary in Kingston. And so I love being on the water and affiliated with anything water. This past summer, I was just completely thrilled to be working with the sailing school here at the museum and over the Riverport for the boat school. We had 4 one-week sessions with student sailers, and we sailed Opties, and we sailed Capris, and we sailed 420s, and the occasional keel boat as well. We have a really, really great program and great instructors with the sailing school. So it's really, we can put the information in the chat about how you can spread the word and, you know, look into classes that will be starting being offered at the beginning of the new year. It's really a great program. We did 4 weeks because COVID. We are looking forward to expanding our season next year. And we have in addition to the instructors, we have a lot of talented, very talented young mentors that will probably work their way into being instructors as well. So yeah, so we'll put the information in the chat. And if you know any, you know, young ones, I think we started at age, what age was it? 9?
9. But next year,
17.
next year we may be expanding. So
Yes,
And we
yes,
had
yes,
mommy and me programs.
yes,
We
for
did.
5 and up.
yes, we have we have amazing dreams for next year, and we're crossing our fingers that they all come true. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to you, Betsy. Thank you.
And I'm going to pick on Jody. So can you talk about community sailing or the adult
Yes.
programs offered at the museum?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen and bring you to the Maritime Museum webpage. And the way you find out about our sailing school is you go to hrmm.org and then you click sailing and you have some choices. So if you want to find out about youth sailing program, you click here. We have our Sea Scouts, Teresa listed here. And I'm going to show you the adult sailing page. And of course, we have the conference. We had some adult basic keelboat classes, and I'm going to go back to community sailing in a minute. We have a range of classes for adults, starting with a 2-hour introduction to sailing called First Sail. And then we have our 3-hour basic centerboard sailing class where we teach the basics, including capsize practice. And we do our Women on the Water program, which everybody here probably is going to be pretty interested in. We partner with the Kingston Sailing Club, and we'll encourage you to go to kingstonsailingclub.org to get more information. And then we have our more substantial course called U.S. Sailing Basic Keelboat, which is a U.S. sailing course. It's 21 hours, and it covers really almost everything that people need to know to become good, solid, basic sailors. So we will be working on our schedule of classes in the next few weeks, and we hope to have them all up definitely before the new year. I specifically wanted to draw people's attention to community sailing, which is, the information is posted right here on the adult sailing page. It's a new program, not too many people know about it, but if people who are local to the Kingston area want to go out sailing and they don't want to buy a boat, they can use one of our Kingston, one of our sailing school boats. They have to become a member of the community sailing program, but it's pretty easy to do that. To become a crew member, they just have to have completed the U.S. Sailing Basic Keelboat class. And then you can be signed up. There's no fee to be signed up. And in order to become a skipper member, you do have to come out sailing with one of the instructors and get checked out to see whether you are skilled enough to manage the boat as a skipper. Once you pass that little test, then you're signed up as a skipper sailor. And basically there's a fee per sail, but if 4 people go out, it ends up being $25 a person. So if you don't have a sailboat and you want to go sailing with one other person or 2 or 3 other persons, 2 to 4 people can sign up for a sail and take one of our sailing boats out. You do have to sign up because we do have, the boats are being used for teaching classes as well. We'll be restarting the program in the spring, and if anybody has questions about it, they can reach out to me. I'm J. Sterling at HRMM, and this information will be posted on the website. So we're hoping to provide a way for people after they complete the sequence of courses that we offer to keep sailing and keep building their skills. And if anybody's looked into buying a boat, they'll know that spending $25 to go out sailing is a lot less expensive than owning a boat, which costs thousands of dollars per year. Okay, I'll pass it back to Betsy.
And I'm gonna pick on MJ. MJ, can you tell us a little bit about what the Kingston Sailing Club has to offer?
Oh, yes. And Jody, that's a great segue for what you were talking about, with also another way to get on the boats is to join the Kingston Sailing Club. It's just a crew of people that are just really enthusiastic about sailing. It could be cruising sailing, it could be racing sailing, it could be the women on the water. There's just a combination of, there's a reawakening of the waterfront down in the Kingston area. And this is a way to get involved with fellow sailors. So the Kingston Sailing Club has a racing program. They have the fall series and the spring series. They take a little hiatus off in the mid-summer where it's really hot and not as much wind, but that's where the cruising club comes in. So not only is there that, but there's also a, well, the Women on the Water, which I'm thinking that if you guys are here, still here on this Zoom call, you've got to be interested in getting on the boats. So the way to get in contact is go check the Kingston Sailing Club, Kingston Sailing Club, and check it out and see what interests you. The thing that I love about it is it's just an eclectic group of people that just love being on the boats and being on the water. We share ideas. There's also, I've sailed quite a bit up in Maine and down in Florida and on Long Island Sound. And I've noticed that this Kingston Sailing Club has got such an opening for women to actually join in, more so than many other places. So hats off to Jody for getting the ball rolling on this. And I think that's about it. Oh yeah, membership, if you do join, it's $25 for individual if you're a skipper and you have your own boat and you want to know a little bit more. Maybe you bought your boat, but you're not that steady on venturing out, then you can join the cruising group and they'll all go together and they'll sail for a day or two and then come back. And that's it. Handing it back to you, Betsy.
Cool, and I'm gonna keep it rolling and pick on Tanya. Can you tell us about 2 programs?
Yes, I also am going to share my screen. Great. I'm going to start by talking about Solaris, which is the oh, this isn't even the right page, which is the Hudson River Maritime Museum's 100% solar tour boat. It was the first one to be
I can't see anything.
approved.
I don't,
Oh,
sorry, maybe I can. Oh, you can, I'm sorry, my bad.
It's the first one to be approved by the Coast Guard. It has a canopy of 16 solar panels, and the bilge is just full of lead acid batteries. And it was built by the museum in the Wooden Boat School and in the Clearwater barn in 2018, and then released. And they do mostly educational programming throughout the summer on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. They have a program on bird watching. They have some environmental programs, an industrial history cruise. I mean, the boat is truly just phenomenal and interesting, a crazy experience to be aboard a completely solar vessel. And I would urge everybody to see if they can get out on it at some point. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about Schooner Apollonia, which is another Kingston area based boat operation that is a friend of the museum, but not directly museum related. Schooner Apollonia is one of 2 sail freight operations in this country. It is the goal of the operation is moving stuff by wind power, carbon neutral, on the Hudson River, usually starting in Hudson, New York, and going down to New York City. We carry things like malt, and barrels, but we also carry a lot of smallholder local goods like honeys and hot sauce from Port Eboll and maple syrup. And I mean, I just am so blown away by the boating culture in Kingston, New York. It's just so crazy that both of these organizations and all the other ones we have talked about operate out of the Kingston waterfront. But I definitely also urge you to purchase things that have been moved sustainably on Schooner Apollonia, and then also come down to the docks, meet us, check out the boat. I'm excited to see you there.
Tanya, can you tell us just where some of the stops are? So for people who are not local to Kingston, they might encounter the Apollonia near where they live?
Yeah, of course. So Apollonia stops at a lot of ports on the Hudson River. So Milton, New York just built this brand new, beautiful dock that we stop at. We stop in Ossining, New York. We stop sometimes in Poughkeepsie. We stop in Kingston, New York, Hudson. We stop sometimes in Yonkers. We go down to Red Hook, Brooklyn. We stop at South Street Seaport Museum in Manhattan. We stop in Long Island City. And if you have something cool that you want to move by sailboat and you are on that route on the Hudson or in the New York area, we'll stop where you are. So reach out.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Tanya.
Tanya.
Of
Now I
course.
want to turn it over to Clearwater people. Amali, Ruthie. You guys wanna
Hello,
talk a
hi
little bit?
everybody. Yeah, I will also share my screen. I've got some slides actually, but I will be quick about it. But yeah, thank you for having us today. Can you see my slides? Awesome.
Yes.
All right. So we are from the Hudson River Sloop Clearwater, and I'll actually, before I kind of get into kind of the different programs that we offer, because that's my role, I'm the program director, I'll just give a brief history of the Clearwater, but even before that, I just wanted to start with a land and water acknowledgement, which we do with all of our programs. So I'll just read it really quickly. Clearwater sails through the historic territories of different Wappinger, Mohican, and Munsee peoples, collectively known as the River People, the Lenni Lenape. We perform our work in places these people have been violently expelled or erased from. We aim to help ensure that they are not forgotten and acknowledge relationships and claims to this area that are maintained to the present day by these people and communities, whether recognized by federal or state governments or living unseen in plain sight in Mohican, Tuckasegg, the Hudson Valley, and throughout the world. And we do this because a big part of our mission is that we're able to, through our programming, through our work, elevate the voices of the historically disenfranchised. And so just a super, super brief history, which I'm sure many of you are already familiar with. Pete Seeger, the famous folk musician, was also a social activist, and he was living in the Hudson Valley and saw how absolutely dirty and polluted and trash ridden the river was, and decided that he was going to do something about it. So he got together with a bunch of his friends, raised the money to build the Sloop Clearwater, which is a 106-foot long sloop that's modeled after Dutch sloops that sail on the Hudson River in the 17 and 1800s. And so Pete's whole idea was, if we can bring people to the river, they will be inspired and motivated to make decisions that will help protect it and restore it to the beautiful resource that it once was. And now the Hudson River is, of course, as you know, in a much better spot today than it was back then. And so we're able to do lots of wonderful programming today. And so kind of the jewel of the Clearwater is our sailing classroom. And we bring students on the sloop for programs. So we'll take schools out for field trips over the summer. We'll work with different organizations, summer camps, that whole kind of thing. We sail from all the way as north as Albany, all the way down to New York City. And in our programming, we get to learn about the Hudson River ecology, work together to haul up our 3,000-pound sail, learn about navigation, get to steer the sloop, and also get to enjoy music, art, and history, which is a really not only a fun time, but also a really important and transformative experience for students, and many of whom have never been on a sloop before, and many of whom have never been sailing before. Right now, we're actually in our home port in Kingston at the Hudson River Maritime Museum, in the middle of a big restoration, but we're eagerly awaiting next spring when we can get out again to run this programming. So here's just a few pictures. This is actually Amali here delivering some programming to students. Here we get to take them in non-COVID times below decks and learn about the history of the sloop and also of the Hudson River Valley, including and especially from the Indigenous perspective. We also trawl for fish, and so students get to actually see that, the Hudson River is not this dirty, disgusting body of water. It's this amazing place where there's so much biodiversity. Sometimes they even get to touch the fish depending on what we catch, and using our fish key. So that's what they're doing here. And again, as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, it's really important to us to make sure that we are serving communities that don't normally get access to the river. And so one of the ways we do that is that we have this program called our Youth Empowerment Program. And we bring the Hudson Valley and the river to young people, to teens 16 and up. And they basically have this 2-night, 3-day experience where they're sailing all day, camping at night, and building skills and bonds with each other and building a community that can lead to a lot of amazing things, not least of which is often, or at least sometimes, these teens end up becoming a part of our crew as, a sailing trainee or an educator deckhand. So that's another really great piece of programming that we do for young people. So here's just a couple of photos of that. We have something called the Sloop Olympics at the end, which is always a really good time. So we have young women at the helm, we have LGBTQ and allies at the helm, and we have young men at the helm as well. And how to get involved? We've got a newsletter that you can subscribe to stay up to date, which you can join through our website, which I'll drop in the chat in a moment. And if you or anyone you know is interested in joining our crew, you can email crewapps@clearwater.org. We also, in our efforts to reach as many people as possible, especially younger audiences, we've really ramped up our social media presence. So you can follow us at Sloop Clearwater on all of these platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. So it's all there. And of course, any other questions, please feel free to direct them to Amali or myself. And what I will say is, in addition to our education programming, you can also just come sailing as a member of the public. During our sailing season, we also conduct public sails, which again happen from Albany down to New York City. We are present at farmers markets, at different community festivals, and something else that I'll drop in the chat, actually, and I have this link ready right here, so I'll do this. Of course, there's nothing on our calendar right now since, we're in the middle of this big restoration. But once the season starts, that link that I just dropped in the chat is where you can go to see when we'll be in your community and how you can sign up to come on one of our public sails. So thank you.
Amazing, Ruthie. Thank you. Last but not least, Phyllis, do you have anything to share?
Thank you for inviting me as a representative of the Hudson River Historic Boat Restoration and Sailing Society. I know that's quite a mouthful. I have to repeat that occasionally. I do have a PowerPoint with some slides to show you. So let's see if I can do this right. What you're seeing here is a sloop that's home port is in Catskill, New York. Its name is Eleanor. Little special story. I actually grew up sailing on this vessel on the Hudson from about the time I was an infant on. It was restored in over the last like 10, 11, 12 years. It's a Clinton Crane gaff rigged sloop design. Originally did not have any auxiliary power, now has an electric motor for supplementing on the Hudson when the tides and winds are against you, right? So this is part of this group that was formed. It's a 501c3 volunteer and education also oriented organization. And yeah, you can join and have an opportunity to sail on a really old, beautiful, classic boat. So I can see that my PowerPoint is out of order, but let me just see if I can manage to show you some slides of it. Okay, so it sails beautifully, sails really close to the wind. Oh, this is a small video I took this from the Rip Van Winkle Bridge back in June. I have another, it's a little better, but so we'll move along. This is looking down from the bridge. And this is north of the Catskill Bridge. So we do see, if you sail, come for a sail or get to be involved, you're gonna be visiting and sailing under the Rip Van Winkle Bridge often. There's a beautiful Rip Van Winkle, and Olana is off there to the east. This was taken recently by, I believe, a graduate of the Kingston Maritime Sailing School, Maggie Howell, who is involved in our club and program. And she's finished one of the classes. I'm not sure which one it was. Sunset sailing, as you know, beautiful Kingston, also Roundout Creek, but the Catskills are always amazing to enjoy from the water. This was taken on a trip up to the Hudson Powerboat Association. They did a visit this past summer. Yeah, this was at the in Kingston this summer, and this is a friend of mine from high school who just joined, and she came down and learned about Eleanor when we were a guest of the Kingston Maritime program. A little view of sailing along. Another shot that was taken recently. I've shared this one because, as you can see, We support women sailing out on the water, absolutely. And seeing the mom and the little girl kind of reminded me of my experience growing up sailing on this boat. Another shot. This one was taken closer to Hudson and by one of the other members, Pete Tenarowitz. I think he took that from his boat when he was on his own boat, not on Eleanor. Another one. I think that isn't Rip Van Winkle. That might have been part of the trip to Kingston. That bridge does not look, I'm not sure if that's the Kingston Bridge or not. And if you're interested in, our fees or membership is minimal, but we do need volunteers as always. And I have one more page that we have a website, of course, hudsonriverhistoricboat.org. We have a Facebook page and our current president is Chris Hopp at hudsonriverhistoricboat.org. Right at there is a hope that we'll get into doing some more boat restoration. It's only been a year, a little over a year since Eleanor was launched after the lengthy restoration that was done by volunteers. So you might say everyone's still been in learning mode, getting familiar with her again. My older sister, Louise Bliss, has been very involved in fact, she was the spearhead person behind getting the restoration underway, and she still is out there sailing and helping in different ways. So we welcome people you know, if anybody wants to come up, it's really so nominal a price to be involved that you could do several of these clubs and opportunities. Lots of good things going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I'm going to open up the floor to questions right now. If anybody has a question, they can pop it in the chat, raise their hand, unmute. I have a couple to get us started. Whomever wants to can answer them. My first question is, what do you think is the biggest impediment to getting people on the water, and how is your organization addressing it?
I'll jump in since I'm in the mood for talking, I guess. So I think it's great that we need to get more publicity, but that seems to be improving, and making the programs affordable. I have a sailboat. I'm actually in New Jersey right now. I live down in central New Jersey, and I totally agree about the cost of you know, owning and maintaining your own boat. And I think often about giving that up and participating in more community sailing programs or renting a boat for the afternoon. So I think that's one thing. Also getting the word out to diverse groups of people, schools. It's so good to hear about all the programs for young people. I think that helps.
Awesome. Anybody else want to answer?
Well, we're working hard at the sailing school to reach out to kids in particular, but adults as well, from diverse backgrounds, people who maybe didn't grow up around the water and with a comfort level. So in addition to the cost, I think it's familiarity and comfort. And we did a program this year called Adventure Sail. It's a program that's run by the National Women's Sailing Association all across the country. We participated for the first time this year. We brought 18 girls, middle school age girls, and 8 mentors out on Kingston Sailing Club boats. We spent the day with the girls, and these were all kids from communities that normally wouldn't have access to boating. And I think they had a really good day, and several of them, I think, will definitely want to come back, and we want to expand that kind of programming. We do provide scholarships for our youth sailing classes. We're applying for grants and hoping to increase the number of scholarships. So, you know, both access and affordability, I think, are really important.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that everyone has said. And, you know, I think these are all shared challenges. And I think, you know, just another addition to ways that we've been trying to address some of these challenges. We've really, and this is, you know, a big kudos to Amali, who's really taken the lead on outreach and engagement and reaching out and making connections with, you know, organizations that, you know, that serve communities or groups of people who might not normally, you know, be aware of us and might not normally have had the opportunity to go sailing, and you know, really building those relationships in the community, and you know, in building those relationships, making sure that we're hearing from the communities in terms of, well, what can we do to make you feel welcome? What can we do to make sure that this feels relevant to you? And so kind of centering that those conversations around, you know, how can we best serve you, instead of, oh, well, here, come on this boat and this is what you're going to do and you're going to do it this way. I think that's another important aspect of it. And like I said before, you know, social media in terms of reaching a younger audience, I think that's been really helpful too, in terms of building awareness, kind of building a brand. So yeah, I think those things are really important. And yeah, Jody, to echo, the grants are really huge from the affordability standpoint.
The Hudson Tourism Board, in conjunction with Apollonia, but puts on something called Waterfront Wednesdays, which is an event dedicated to getting people out on the water. I know Clearwater has come, so has Eleanor. Solaris has been there, and Apollonia's there most weeks. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anybody, but it's all free public programming, like on a weekday. So it's for locals to get out on the water, and there's always food. And if you are a local, or even if you're not, you can always take the train up. It's an excellent event that you should come to.
With the Sea Scouts, I found that recruitment has been an issue for us, and you would think that you would have youth within the Kingston area who could even walk down to the waterfront and participate. We don't currently have any Kingston residents in the program. We have Red Hook, Rondout Valley, New Paltz, Saugerties, and I think the biggest part of that is that their parents are willing to drive them, carpool, make sure that they're getting there. So transportation is a big thing. Parents that are supporting the program is really important, and publicity. I think our recruitment hasn't been as good as it should be. That's something we need to work on, is how to get our name out there, publicize ourselves, and recruit.
I just want to say also that it isn't, one of the things is just people don't come down to the waterfront. Waterfront typically has been very private property. So having more access, like Tanya, what you were saying is having that Wednesdays. My first thought is just getting people right on the waterfront, like maybe fishing, or maybe something you can do from the pier, just so you can interact with that. There could be more as a bridge between getting, Teresa, to getting into the boats, is having people come down and just walking through and not committing to getting on a boat, but just, you know, seeing what the waterfront is all about, and then maybe seeing the boat, and then, oh, that would be another step. But those 3 steps, getting people publicity, getting people down to the waterfront itself, and then moving on to the boats, as creating more awareness.
My next question, what would you suggest for someone entirely new to the sailing scene? What advice would you give them?
It takes a long time to really, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it is still true. Sailing is a very male-dominated sport that can seem unwelcoming or exclusive. And so if your first experience out isn't good, try out another boat. A lot of local community boating centers and yacht clubs, if you email the yacht club and ask if anyone needs crew for their races, there will be plenty of people will be happy to have you aboard. And it is very possible that the first boat, the first 2 boats, the first 3 boats will not be a good match for you. But if you like being out on the water, keep at it, find your people. And it's really, really great.
Agreed. Be bold. Be courageous. It's a little hard to push yourself into a new environment, but you can do it. And you'll find your tribe.
Also, I was just saying, very often, with that list that Don Riley had given up, for those of people that really want to get out in the boat in the summer, start hiking the boating, the places where the boats are dry docked right now. And, if you want to help with the elbow grease, I'm sure that'll pave the way to get more, if you just walk up and say, hey, do you want some help? Or I'm interested, blah, blah, blah. That people would love to hear that. And that commitment, my brother, who's a big sailor racer, he says, I'd rather have a new person that is 100% committed and I train them than someone who is, oh, I know what I'm doing and never there. So the new people we're looking for, because that's the people that we want to, like, we can do the training, no problem. We want you, but your commitment to being there, I would recommend.
Yeah, and there are so many different ways to be involved. Like you can be a volunteer. At Clearwater, we have a volunteer program, which we haven't done because of COVID, but we're going to start that back up. So you can volunteer, you can be a crew member. Like there's a multitude of ways to get involved. So yeah, I think just to piggyback off of Jody, be patient, be open-minded. It might take a couple of, as Tanya said, a couple of different tries and a couple of different types of roles. But yeah, there's no shortage of ways to be involved.
Well, thank everybody for coming.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the organizers. Thank you to the presenters. Thank you to the hosts, the volunteers. Thank you to Angela for getting us all these neat prizes.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Good day.
And many, many thanks to Jody, who without her, this wouldn't be possible and it wouldn't be happening. So everything for you, Jody.
Thanks, Stephanie. It takes a village.
Yeah, thank you, Jody, so much.
See you on the water.
Mhm.
For the havens, you many foemen. My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course for the havens, you